Well, of course, the definitions of developed and developing countries are definitions which should evolve with time. All countries are developing. It depends how do you define development, but is development stopped in every developed countries? I'm not sure. Well, I think you have to start from realities, and if you start from those different quantities of gases sent in the past up to now from developed countries and from the so-called developing countries, you have to take that into account when you look at who could in the future be asked to participate more or less to the efforts to reduce global emissions. Makes some sense to ask those who emit the most and who have emitted the most in the past to make the first step at least and the largest efforts. If it is recognized that 3/4 of the responsibility for the problem lies on their side, it makes sense to ask them to act first and to make the deepest cut. Now, on the other hand, it's also a common problem, and at a certain point, if only the so-called developed countries act and the developing countries reach at some point the same emission per capita as today's developed countries, given they are 5 times more numerous in terms of population, we're not going to solve the problem if in the long term developing countries, those who are developing countries today, it's called developing countries today, don't participate as well. So there's some bargaining, some deal that needs to be struck with developed countries acting first, doing everything they can to reduce their emission to the lowest possible level as soon as possible, and also some movement is needed on the part of developing countries, and that movement, everybody knows that that movement will be easier and stronger if they received technologies, if they received advice, if they receive help from developed countries to do that, so that they wouldn't reproduce the mistakes, quote unquote, developed countries have made in their development pattern in the developing countries, in their development.